What's the deal with YouTube tonight? Okay, I think we're live on YouTube.
All right, but I don't see. I'm looking for the rumbles.
All right, looks like
Hang on.
we're live
Looking
on
for
Rumble.
the rumbles.
All right, looks like so
Hang
there's
on.
the Rumble chat.
All right, hang on.
Bear with us, guys.
Let
We're
me
kind of
do
getting
this.
things set up live.
Looking
We're running
for
a
Yeah.
few minutes late because we're having a guest on, and
All right, hang on.
bear with us.
He's
guys.
still
He is
streaming.
a little bit behind us. He's still
Yeah.
running his stream.
We're
I kind of
So
invited him
busy.
last minute, so that's on
Right.
me. Bear with us.
He's
guys.
still
He
streaming.
is a little bit behind us. He's
There
still
we go.
running his
All right.
stream. I kind of
So
invited
busy.
him last minute, so that's on
We're live. I see us on
Okay.
the Rumble. All right, let me pop out the Rumble
I'm
chat.
trying to get the echo to go away by muting these real quick. And then getting the chat popped out.
Yeah, I'm popping
Okay.
chat.
So we got a few people in chat. Vinny's here. Good to see you, Vinny. He
All right,
wants
hang on, let me
to
open
chit-chat
it.
with me tomorrow about something, and he actually has a complete copy of Super Princess Peach for the DS, which I'm probably going to take off his hands at some point.
Nice.
Paradox Error is in chat. Scrambles the Death Dealer is in chat.
Rambles.
And
Hold on, let me get the YouTube.
I'm
All
going
right,
to hide
hang on.
DJC's stuff until he shows up, and then we'll deal with that as it comes.
That's if he's showing up. He's
He
playing.
probably will. My wife suggested bringing him in because there's a couple things we kind of want to like showcase tonight, and I thought it would be cool to kind of go into some of the stuff that I kind of saw in Vegas, which is what I did this past week. Me and my wife went off to Vegas, and each one of the hotels has an arcade. It's primarily there for the kids, but they had a lot of stuff there as far as arcade cabinets and some stuff I had never seen before. So I thought it would be interesting to kind of talk about not only how some of the old games seem to be coming back to arcades and how some of those look now, and how they're kind of influencing the way the arcade is going now, but how they're reworking in games using some of the newer technologies and how they're blending some of the new technologies into the arcade as well. So there's a lot kind of going on in the arcade scene that I think would make it almost a great time for stuff like arcades to come back. Because I'm about to pull the trigger on a vinyl player. Matter of fact, I think I know which one I'm going to buy and then start getting into vinyl because my Barnes & Noble, which maybe yours does too, is carrying a huge vinyl selection. I had no idea. So,
dude, vinyl is huge.
Vinyl's a big deal right now, and I've been wanting to get into it for a while just to see what the sound profile was, and I don't know. What I didn't know is how I wanted to dip my toe into it. Do I want to do it with Bluetooth speakers? Do I want to do it with RCA speakers? Do I want to do like a fully analog system? And how analog do I want to go with it? Do I want to get a higher end one that costs way more but also needs a receiver because it's even more money? And I think I'm just going to go with one that has like Bluetooth for right now just to get a feel for like vinyl itself that's more entry level but not like bottom level my first record player kind of thing, and work my way up from there depending on where it ends up settling and when I end up doing with it.
Just sounds like a Fisher pricing. My first record player.
Well, I mean, they have some that go all the way down to like $20, right? I mean, it's like the Fisher Price record player. I think my wife even mentioned having one.
I probably had one.
So it's that kind of thing.
See,
you ever
I
see
had
Mike and Darth Vader in the same room. Just saying.
Well, because Vinny says I sound like Darth Vader.
That's because you have an echo. Because every time I have to have you set up this way, you have a damn echo. Every time I have you in chat, you have an echo. Every single time. Last time when I had Matthews on and I had Zombie on, me and Zombie sounded fine. Matthews sounded like he had reverb all night.
I almost wonder if it has to do with those virtual cables.
I'm not using the virtual cables.
Oh, you cut the virtual cables?
Well, I mean, they're installed, but I'm not using them. So
I don't know.
Anyway, before I go into the long, sordid story of our first trip to Vegas, why don't you go ahead and go into like what you did over the weekend? Because I know you went to like a show or something this weekend, right?
No, I played. So
Oh, you
I did.
played. Okay.
Yes, I did no gaming. I did no gaming this weekend at all. Like, I the last time I turned something on was Thursday. Um, when I tried to beat Hellblade 2, and I'm almost there. I think I got one more good stream in me before Hellblade 2 is done. Friday, Peter and I were gonna play. I forgot the hell what we were gonna play. We were gonna play something, but Xbox Live went down, so we couldn't get on anything. Um, so we didn't play anything on Friday. We just kind of hung out and talked and chat. Saturday, I had Friday night and Saturday night. I also had band gigs. So by the time I got home, it was like 10:30. I'm like, all right, well, we'll play for a little bit, but
I
Xbox
saw
Live
that.
was
You
down.
couldn't get anything to go.
No, could not get anything.
Yeah.
So it turned out to be um, turned out to be uh, just a night when we just talked on Xbox Live. Was done with
Oh,
it.
I think I just fixed it.
Saturday, aha.
You know what it was? The
What was
control
it?
room itself had its volume on.
Oh,
So if the control room itself has the volume enabled, it acts like another stream coming through, which is why it didn't happen on the normal aux line, but it happens on the volume. I'm sorry, continue.
no worries. Hold on. Okay. Saturday night I had a gig. So Friday night and Saturday I had a gig. Sunday was Scout Day at Oriole Park. So I took Seth and Spencer to the baseball game. Um, while the Orioles didn't win that game, they beat the crap out of Toronto tonight. Um, they got to we got to because I was in uniform as well. We got to parade around the warning track of the ballpark, so the kids got to get out on the field a little bit, and then watch a really. It was a really good game. It just came up short. It was Seth's first baseball game he's ever been to, and he enjoyed it. So I did see that, Born. Cyndi Lauper's doing a farewell tour. That is hilarious. So okay, yeah. Scramble said it's fixed.
I'm a
Echo's
little
gone, but
confused. I thought she retired like ages ago. Is she coming out of
he did, but
retirement to
like,
do a retirement tour?
well, they all do. Come on,
Is that what
look,
we're doing?
Billy Joel retired like 4 times, and now he's on tour again.
Well, I know Motley Crue for the longest time kept going, no, 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 this is our last final tour.
Yes, I'm telling you, Billy Joel is famous for his last final tours. So, um, yeah. So she's back doing a farewell tour. Thanks, Scrambles. It's cool, Mike on the gigs. Yeah, it was fun. We did. And it's so funny because the gigs are so diverse. What we do. So over the course of the last 8 months, we've added a female singer, and for those who want more than our 3-piece band, we now have a full 5-piece group that you can use. So if you want full drums and bass and you can afford it, we have a full band. So our 3-piece band did a retirement community on Friday night, and then just a local restaurant. We don't get out much into the public because we do a lot of private events. So
Yeah,
this was
yeah, I
a
noticed
chance for us
you
to get
always
out
seem to
and
do like weddings and bar mitzvahs and stuff like that.
yeah, and crab feast, bull roast. So we do a lot of private events. This is an opportunity. We got a couple of opportunities this summer to kind of get out into the public. My family can come see me play. Our friends can come out, and we have a state fair here in Maryland. It's pretty big. That goes from the week before Labor Day through Labor Day,
Mm-hmm.
and our 5-piece group's going to play there. So I'm enjoying, but it was a lot this weekend, so I did not get a chance to do any gaming
Yeah.
this weekend.
I got a little
So
bit in on. Okay, YouTube's losing its mind. I'm losing subscribers by the minute. It's funny. I'm gonna close this window because it's just distracting me now. I got a little bit in, but we didn't get back in. We got in Thursday, and then there were reasons I didn't do much on Friday and Saturday, which I'll get into after you're done. Things got interesting towards the tail end of the trip and at the very beginning of the trip. Let's just put it that way.
okay.
Okay, so okay. So I'll go ahead and go into the whole Vegas thing.
I want to hear this because you can't just leave
well,
like
the way Vegas started is we got to Vegas fine. Getting through the airport was great. Checking in was great. Denver airport was like outstanding on like Thursday. It was like we got to the airport in 30 minutes, and I think we were literally sitting in the causeway in like an hour. That's how fast it was. That was parking, getting the bags in, getting everything checked in, going through security, and taking the tram all the way down there, right? So we get on the plane. Everything's fine on the plane. We land. We go to check into the Cosmopolitan because that's the hotel that we had slated for. That's one that Nicole wanted to stay in. So we get there and we wait in this like asininely, obnoxiously stupid line that had no purpose or reason to be this long. Everybody who was checking everybody in was taking a very long time to check everybody in. And then we get to the front, and Nicole notices a weird email saying something about, we're looking forward to your visit, and then had another email that said, thank you for your visit. We'll see you next time. She goes, uh-oh, I hope that doesn't cause us a problem. And I'm like, I'm sure it's probably fine. And we get up there, and the lady just goes, yeah, your reservation was canceled because your card was declined. There's nowhere for you to stay on the strip. You should leave the strip. And I'm like,
wait, you should leave the strip.
What? So I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Vinny, there's supposed to be. He has not popped in yet, but we're going to have Chuck on, DJC Game Studios. So she tells us we can go ahead and go over to the bar area because, well, they want everybody in the hotels anyway. How Vegas works is everybody freaking comes in, right, into every hotel and does shopping and drinks and food and stuff like that, right? And the rooms are reserved for guests. And certain amenities are reserved for guests like pools and stuff. So we go over there and we start looking for it. And the first thing I do is I'm not mad yet. I'm mad at the lady and how she reacted. Because she was very just get the hell out of my town about it. And I'm like, fuck you. I paid good money to get tickets to come here and we made a reservation. So we went through and the first thing I did is look for hotels in Vegas or look for hotel rooms in Vegas. And I just saw list of hotel rooms and I'm like, there are rooms on the strip right now. I don't know what she's talking about. So we ended up talking to somebody, well, Nicole did, because she decided to take point on that because it was her reservation that failed. So she was bound and determined to fix it. I'm like, all right, fine. So she schedules that, and we get into New York. Wasn't our first pick, but it turned out to be a pretty good room. So we go in there, we register it, they got us a suite. So we go ahead and got registered there, but that took us to 7:30 to do. Now, we got there at 6. It took us another hour and a half. Am I in Doppler mode? What? I have no idea what you mean by Doppler mode.
There's a little bit of a. I know what she's saying. Your behind you is kind of doubled a little bit. Your chair and your headset. It's almost like It's almost like you are the echo, not your voice.
Oh, you know what? That's because I can float around like this. There we go. How's that? I am omnipotent and can be in multiple places at the same time. Fear me! Okay. I've had multiple technical difficulties tonight. So we got all that settled, right? But that was pretty much we were done by the time we got that done.
That's just when you look at that person and say, okay, am I being pranked? What am I on a show?
When we talked to the guy when we got to New York, they actually opened up a suite for us that they didn't have open. I think they had it reserved or something, but there wasn't anybody coming in to claim it. So they opened it up. And we found out over time that there was another reason they probably didn't have it open, right? Because the shower we had a jacuzzi tub, which was fantastic, right? But they had a shower in there as well. And we went to use that one morning because we're thinking, we'll just use the shower and we'll get out of here real quick instead of drawing this huge jacuzzi tub and then waiting for it to drain so the other person can get in, right? Well, the shower head didn't work. So I'm like, all right, well, we might want to get that fixed. And then, like, when you'd use the faucet, after you turn it off, you'd hear there's tunk, 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 tunk for like 10 minutes as it drained water. And then directly outside our door, and I know this is just a feature of this particular room, was a roller coaster. Because there's a roller coaster that goes around the entire property. So we had like a roller coaster going past us till like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And I told her, I said, I'm going to have the weirdest dreams while we're here, staying here. Because I'm going to be sleeping, I'm going to be hearing, wee, for like 2 hours. I'm like, I hope I can sleep through it. So that was kind of the start of our trip, right? The rest of the trip, we weren't sure we were going to be able to get any shows or get into any good restaurants because we kind of scheduled this real quick. We were both pretty busy. So we didn't really plan this one out too well. But it turned out to be pretty good. We got into a couple nice restaurants. We got to go see Tournament of Kings. We got to go see Blue Man Group. We got to go see Cirque du Soleil, the Ka show.
Nice.
Ka was amazing. That stage literally moves and rotates. So it spins around. They made it look like a boat at one point with like oars and everything. They had it tilt up and were like fake shooting arrows at it, and then pegs would come out that they could grab onto and climb. It was like the craziest stuff I've ever seen, like a live show do. It was absolutely bonkers. I sort of did have a National Lampoon's Vacation. It was kind of bonkers.
I found out long ago.
So, hey, Jet Screamer, you carried a watermelon? All right. So,
hey, you know what? Everybody's had a weekend.
Yeah. It's good to see you, by the way, Jet Screamer. It's good to see you in chat, man. Hang out for a while, man. Check out the channel. So, did you carry Oh my god. So most of the week was pretty uneventful and fun as far as like, issues go, right? There's a few quirks with the room, but it's a boy.
I was just going to say that. Nicely done, Vinny.
Well played, chat. Well played. So, but I mean, most of the week was pretty uneventful. We went and we saw a bunch of different arcade stuff. I took a lot of pictures, a lot of different arcade machines, because they had some unique ones and some ones I just hadn't seen before. I don't know if they're in like Dave & Buster's and other arcades are in here. Some of them I had seen variants of them before, and some of them were just like brand new to me. Like I had never seen them before. And it got me thinking kind of about the arcade again. But to finish the trip story, like Wednesday night, we did kind of our last meal in Vegas, and we went to a restaurant called Kumi, and I think I got some bad fish because I was just so sick that night, and I slept so bad. I was miserable almost until the point we got on the plane. I was even nervous about getting on the plane. So endured through that and got home, and then ended up by Saturday, having 103 temperature because I had caught something. I was coughing like crazy on Friday.
Yeah, you said you were
starting to stop coughing on Saturday, but I was afraid I'd end up muting the mic more than end up unmuting it during a stream. So I just could not stream. And then by Sunday, I'm starting to come out of it. My head is still a little stuffed up, even today. And the voiceover for the video I've got this week is just mwah because of this. It's terrible. And Nicole wakes up on Sunday and she goes, I blame you. She's got the same damn thing. So, Vegas was interesting and fun, and we'll totally be doing it again.
And you came back with a disease, like most people from Vegas.
I came back with the disease you don't get the fun way.
Right.
I guess. An airplane and food poisoning
Oh,
can be
my
mucho grande. It was luckily nothing super bad happened on the airplane. I was able to
gotta be
mostly
macho
just chill on the airplane. But yeah,
There are people too young. There are people too young watching this right now to know what you're talking about, Jet Screamer. But I'm with you. But I'm with you. I got it. I'll have the fish.
Vinny wants me to pay him in all ones. Vinny, I'm not treating you like a stripper. We're not that close.
Oh. Apparently, Scrambles, what happened in Vegas came home with them.
Yes, it did. Oh, Chuck's here. Let me get Chuck here. He's probably talking to me in the background. I couldn't hear him. Hang on, Chuck. We'll get you. Let me get this set back up. Just that. Add. Browser source.
There you go. What's up, Creeper? Creeper says, I'll have the fish. I don't think everybody's seen Airplane, Jet Screamer, and stop calling me Shirley. Does anybody here speak jive?
There we go. Chuck, can you hear us?
Hey,
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go. Gotcha. Okay.
He has
Cool.
not even left his seat in hours.
There we go. Okay, so now we have a final panel member for the night. Hi, everybody. What's up? It's Ari Craig. Good to see you, man.
I've grown into my chair at this point. This will be my, I don't know, 3.5 hours in, 2.5 hours in, whatever I'm at.
Yeah, we don't have to keep you too long. I mostly invited you because I was like, okay. My wife's like, you're going to talk arcades again. Go ahead and invite Jack. And I'm like, well, you're the reason I'm talking arcades again in the first place. Okay, fine. So this got thrown together last second. So you're as in the loop on what we're talking about tonight as we are.
Yeah, we can't really talk about the other. We can't really talk about the other topic because you're still on YouTube. At some point, YouTube will.
We could. I didn't do any research into it today to get the full details on that, but that was that. Did you talk about that at all on your show this last week? Because I totally missed it, man. I was so busy.
I'm trying. Okay,
I didn't even get to it.
I am trying to walk a fine line, and I don't say this as a negative. I really don't. I don't say this as a negative, but I do have to watch out. I do have a line I've got to sort of stay behind because Peter's on the channel with me, and there are things that Peter doesn't want to talk about that he may not even agree with me on, and I do need to be I need to be courteous to him.
Okay.
So there are things that we don't talk about. I think he's starting to. Just between the three of us and the internet, I think he's starting to kind of red pill a little bit, but I don't want to. I'm not forcing conversations about that. If it was just my channel, I would be talking about a lot more.
Okay.
But I just.
So to fill you guys in on this mystery conversation, there was a drop a while back, and I'd have to find the article to bring the article back up, where. And I don't want to go into this because we got limited time with Chuck, so I'm just going to give you guys the overview, and we might come back to this. That the Unreal Engine had made like a modification to like their terms of service, and they were now sort of scanning the code for certain words that they didn't want to see in comments or dialogue in games, and forcing that on developers who were licensing their engine to build games the way they want to build games. So it was kind of like a bullshit decision by them, in my opinion, that I was not a huge fan of how they were doing that in particular.
It's getting exhausting.
Yeah.
The whole fucking thing is getting exhausting.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things.
There it is.
So
we're
gonna skip that right now, and I
So,
think what we're gonna do here is
go
we're
to
gonna go
arcades.
to the screen view here with it. Oh, and I gotta fix a lot of stuff here. Oh my God.
Let's go talk about the old days, which is exactly which will make us all feel better.
It will if I can fix this scenario. Holy hell. Your cameras, everything's everywhere. This is why I tried to get you guys in early so I could fix this stuff, but that didn't work today. So we're gonna make it work. It's fine. Everybody's gonna float for a little bit. We all float down here. It's fine. It's fine.
You might also want to get rid of your Gmail.
Huh?
Your Gmail is showing.
Oh, yeah. Here, we'll pull that up. I'm gonna pull something else in front of that here in a minute. Right now I want to get Chuck edited. Because he's not in this view because I didn't have him here to be able to grab his source. There we go. And Chuck can... Whee! Look, Chuck's floating! He's flying! He's flying!
Whoa!
You okay there, Chuck?
Yeah, I'm a little dizzy, but I think I'm okay.
All right, man. All right. Okay. So, not everything's lined up perfectly. I don't care. I'm flying by the seat of my pants here tonight. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some of these up so you guys can kind of see some of these.
Hey, now. No, go back to that.
Go back to what? Go back to what? What did I have?
What that? Oh,
These?
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, that. Oh, I know what you guys are looking at.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. You guys like my background screen. Don't be all jelly.
I'm not jealous. Happy. Vinny said we have lower volume now.
Oh, you have lower
Turn
volume
us
now?
up. Turn up the radio.
Oh, I think that's why. The desktop volume was down a bit low. Okay.
Aha.
So let me go ahead and bring some of these up because there's some I'm going to start with the one that I know that you're probably going to be the most interested with, Mike, is this thing right here. This is the Halo arcade cabinet. These are the speakers in the back of the seat.
I thought there was like a character looking at.
No,
Yes,
these are speakers in the back of the
surprised.
seat. And then
He is totally surprised.
These are
too.
the graphics on the bottom of the cabinet because you're using either Ethan, Margaret Husson, Victor Ramos, or Ava Lang as like characters, right? In this whole thing. And then let me go to the.
This is
there's
and that's
the physically in the cabinet with a light gun. So it's a light gun version of Halo.
Correct.
Oh, okay,
This is Halo. So this is Halo Fire Team Bravo, correct?
Yes.
Is that the one you're playing? Yeah,
Yeah,
Fire
so
Team
this
Raven.
is a two-screen
this one's
version.
Fire
They
Team
have
Raven.
they have like a single-seater version, a two-seater version, and then this huge four-seater version where they put like two cabinets together. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, guys.
Wow.
Yeah, it got goofed up because I had the desktop volume down low on this one. I think because we were playing videos before and the videos were way too loud, and that's why. So that should help with their volume drastically. So this is the kind of using those new light guns, right? I don't know if you guys have seen those like Sinclair light guns, the ones that work on LED screens.
The ones that I would love to have for home consoles.
Yeah, and the weird thing about those is kind of the latency, right? Because you've got an inherent drag latency because we've all played the old light gun cabinet. Chuck, you probably got a few of them, right?
I have a Virtual Cop with the old school light gun, but yeah.
Right, but you just aim and fire, and it's immediately there. There's no latency. Just wherever your gun is and you pull the trigger, that's where the bullet is. In this, when you're aiming on all these, you basically have... Hey, Gake, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Basically, when you're moving the gun, you'll see the cursor move across the screen. So it doesn't just snap to. It's got a little. It's not a bad latency. Not anything that's unplayable because they've adjusted the game to make it playable with it, right?
Yeah.
But you can definitely see it kind of trail. It feels like a little bit behind where you're aiming, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of new light gun technology for LCDs, but what it really is, it's not the LCD. What they do is they put, I want to say it's 4 different sensors on the corners of the LCD monitor, and the guns react for that. Depending on so it knows how big your square or your rectangle is. At the arcade store that I go to and talk to all the time, they have a couple new cabinets with those new, I think it's by Sinden, if I'm not mistaken, if I could be wrong.
Yeah, Sinden, I think, is the name of the company that's been making them.
And
It's doing the retro shooters with the two red and blue guns.
Yes.
Those seem to be the most common right now. And it's the same technology that's probably in this. And what it is, it's like 4 sensors, and you put them on the corners. So you know, if it's like this small or this wide, it basically is letting the gun know where you're aiming, and you can kind of, I believe there's a calibration where you can kind of check it, but yeah, mostly it shows that cursor, but there's still going to be some sort of a latency on it, which it's not, like you said, it's not terrible, but it's not like the old school duck hunt gun or like
nearly
virtual
that fast.
cop or House of the Dead, all that stuff that was using tube monitors.
Yeah.
Those are still spot on.
Yeah, those are still like the best ones to play, but if you're of a newer generation and you haven't done any other light games other than this, you probably wouldn't even notice it.
No, it's not that bad.
No, yeah.
I was playing Wild Gunman. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I don't think I've got any more pictures of this one in here. And then one of the others that I saw that I thought, Mike, you would really, and actually Chuck, you would love to see. This thing was wild. I'd never seen this one before. This is a big
Centipede.
boy centipede cabinet.
Yep.
So what's going on in that? Is it similar to like the Pac-Man Battle Royale where you got like 5 or 6 shooters?
It looks like you've
on
got
one
3
centipede?
players like working to take down like centipede. It looks like it's cooperative, but there are also bosses in this one.
Very
like giant
cool.
spiders and stuff that'll pop up and come down that you basically have to take out as a team. And I'm assuming you're competing for points, but it doesn't look like you're trying to kill each other.
Now, are the controls giant?
No, it's if you look at it, they're joysticks.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's disappointing.
Yeah. Let me.
No, but
Centipede is
it works.
trackball.
But it works really well. Believe it or not, it
So
works
you got the
better than you
joysticks
think
here,
it
and then
is.
you got buttons on either side, so it's ambidextrous for sure. The one thing I noticed about this one is the ball top on these is huge, man. It's almost the size of a freaking actual baseball. It's crazy.
That's really interesting. I'd really have to. I mean, when I think centipede, that's what you think of.
I think trackball.
You think of the trackball, absolutely.
Yeah, you think trackball.
Yeah, but remember, kids these days don't know what a trackball is.
I mean, but it's common for Silver Strike and Golden Tee.
How many kids are playing Golden Tee?
I mean, it's pretty common still, I think. Like I notice whenever I'm
But how many kids that would play Centipede? I mean, this is
it's in Power Putt too. A lot of kids play Power Putt. Silver Strike.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, Power Putt's like mini golf for kids. It's in a lot of the bars or restaurants.
It's in a lot of the bars.
Like bars, restaurants, places where you can go and take like a family to eat. But anyways, but the thing that always got me.
It's kind of a vague term now, Mike. People say bar, but it's more bar food. It's not like a hardcore.
Yeah,
bar
I know.
anymore.
Bar and
Yeah,
restaurant.
that's what
they call them bar.
Like
They're bars. They're bar restaurants. Restaurants.
Yeah, like bar and grills. Where you can have families in
like
there.
Everything now.
Yeah.
I'm just moving shit around.
Well, it's like Buffalo Wild Wings is like a bar and grill at this point.
Perfect example. That's where you're going to find that type of stuff. But like the thing with me with Centipede and a joystick. Once again, I haven't played this. Maybe it's amazing. Centipede and joystick.
I don't know that I got much time on this one. This was in a different hotel than we got our arcade card in, which is a whole other thing I'll go into later if you guys go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Night, by the way, Mario. Sorry if I missed you bouncing in. I was trying to fix things.
He was kind of in and out.
He's been sick lately, so I totally understand.
He has been
to bounce.
No, but man, I gotta tell you, just real quick on Mario, real quick. Content aside, if you've seen his art,
his art's amazing.
Dude is talented beyond talented. I love his art. Anyway, Centipede. That Centipede, Chuck, is better than you think it is. Than it looks. It's very it works very well.
Oh, I played that about a million times.
Here's one of the Pac-Man ones that I thought was actually better than what I'd seen before. This is one of
the
those
Battle Royal
player Pac-Mans.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen these on more of like a a bar top type setup where everybody's sitting at a seat looking down
Yeah,
at the same
that's the
screen.
small
Some
one.
people are looking at it upside down. Gay, you killing me, man. Scrambles. Yeah, Human Centipede, another movie I won't watch. I don't want to see that one either. But I like this layout way better. And the reason I
I've
like
seen
it's
the
because you've
South
got more
Park
shoulder
version, that's
room,
enough.
and you're all looking at the same screen, and nobody's looking at anything upside down.
Yeah, that's a great machine.
Yeah, but then you can't shoulder check the guy next to you to knock him off.
Well, I mean, you could still probably hip check somebody. It'd probably still work.
That's a long way to. That's a long
Not
way
as
to.
much as you think when you're like really in there. I don't think, but yeah, I mean, it's
this
a bit
one
more
I
space
haven't
than
seen.
than you would normally think. And then I saw this one that I thought was super cool. This is
That-
like you're pitching balls into Pac-Man's mouth. It's
I've
almost
never
like
seen
they
that.
started gamifying
I have not
beer
seen that
pong,
either. That's freaking cool.
Is that physical or is that a video screen?
It's physical.
Oh wow.
Like
Those are
actual
physical
pellets,
little Pac-Mans back here
and you're.
that you're putting, like, basically throwing ping pong balls trying to get them in there.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness, that's cool.
I thought it was super
That's cool.
cool. What's up, Rock? Good to see you, man.
Rock,
for coming
what's up,
in.
man? What's going on, brother? Game
But
complainers
I saw this
represent.
and I'm like, I kind of want to play it, but we didn't get around to it. But I'm like, this is a neat idea.
This is
And they
It's
did this
badass.
with a few
Yes.
games. They basically took beer pong and made it into a video game.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, do any of these spit out tickets?
Oh yeah. Well, they
Okay,
don't spit
so they're
out
all.
tickets.
That's basically.
I'll segue into the card thing, okay? So the way you play games in Vegas, let me pull one of these up so you guys can like see it again,
Yeah.
because I know you can see it on this one really well.
It looks like a
You
Dave
see
and
these
Buster's
little
kind
light
of
up
thing.
things right here?
Yeah,
Where
like
the things
yeah,
are.
it's like Dave
You
and
tap
Buster's.
a card that you pay $2
Yep.
for that you can then charge. You can put money on it, right? So
Yeah,
it's a one-time fee to get of $2 to get the card, but you need a card for every single hotel, which I find kind of obnoxious. The cards won't work on different properties. So even if
That's
they're all MGM
funny.
properties, like we went from New York over to
That's-
Excalibur, and the card we bought in New York wouldn't activate in Excalibur.
That's see. At
That
least
I
at
didn't
Dave and
like.
Buster's, any Dave and Buster's you go to, the card works. Like
Yeah,
Chuck E.
I
Cheese.
thought, okay, if I get one
Yeah.
for an MGM property, hopefully it'll work on all the MGM properties, right?
Right.
I understand if it's not MGM, you'd have to get a new card. But what I found minorly annoying is having to buy a new card for every single property in order to play some of these, which is why we didn't play some of these. This was one we didn't play because this was over at the Excalibur. But you basically put money on the card, either through cash or credit, and then you take the card and then you tap it on there, and it just activates the machine. The problem that I had with it is it doesn't, when I scanned it, I never noticed it telling me how many remaining credits I had until I had insufficient credits. And there's probably a place you can go to find out how many credits you have left on there, and I don't know how much a credit is per play, right? Because some of
There's
them are
probably, yeah, it's probably a site on the back of the card. Or sometimes when you like at Dave and Buster's, when you tap the card, it will
Yeah.
tell you how many credits you have left.
right. So it kind of functions like that, and I thought that was kind of weird, and I didn't like it in some ways for that reason. The games themselves were great. Like, I found another weird one. Like, here's one of the other bizarre ones. Does this look familiar to anybody?
Bop It. Oh my God, they
I'm
turned
not
Bop
even
It into
kidding.
a
They
game.
gamified Bop It into an arcade machine. Chuck, have you ever seen this madness?
Never. It looks like it's made by Sega.
Is it?
It says a
There's-
Sega logo
yeah.
on it.
Yeah,
Sega,
yeah,
what's
there.
up?
Yep.
But like,
Sega.
here's where
Hold on,
it does
I'm
everything
looking
on
this
here. It's like the weirdest damn thing I saw when I was there.
Yeah,
I
I've
was like,
never seen that.
I was like, what?
I mean, it looks like a redemption game. You know, it's just like a ticket redemption game, I'm guessing.
I think it is.
It's gotta be. It's
But the
Gotta
fact
be.
that they made Bop It into a video game just cracked me up to no end. I had never seen anything like this,
I am
and
looking this up
probably
because
won't again.
Sega Amusements International.
Yeah, if I zoom out on this, you can literally see Sega at the top,
Yeah.
and it's down here on the bottom too.
Mhm.
The incredibly popular family fun consumer game Bop It is coming to the arcades. One of the most successful games in the world by leading brand Hasbro, this arcade version of the game will be an instant hit at your location. It's a fun and intuitive game that will bring family and friends together. In this skill-based redemption game, players will simply follow the voice and visual prompts to perform actions in quick succession.
And here's
The
a
more
throwback
actions
for
they get
some
right,
of
the
us as
higher the tick.
kids.
Oh yeah. Now is that the fishing?
I don't
Like you
know
get-
if it was fishing or if you were throwing rings or whatnot, but this was all moving around the dragon and the moat. Excalibur had a
that
lot
doesn't-
of carnival style games using water guns and things like that in order to do that, which I thought was absolutely brilliant, but kind of strange at the same time. Because there's another hotel called Circus Circus that we didn't make it to, and this is the kind of stuff I expected to see there. Is more
Gotcha.
carnival style games. Okay.
Okay,
Paris says it was
There's
ping pong balls in the
cup.
cups.
got it. See, now I'm looking at what's left of Sega's arcade stuff.
And then here's something just ridiculous. That's a claw machine, by the way.
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah, the giant claws.
Yeah, the big extreme claw machines.
I thought
Where
that was
instead of
just-
getting the little thing, you just get full size. You get
Yeah.
full size carnival shit out of it.
And then this we had a
Yeah.
really good time with. This was the Hot Wheels
Oh, nice.
machine where you race for coins. And you get, on almost all these, you get tickets because they have a ticket redemption booth.
Yeah, these are all, yeah.
And Chuck, you're like super quiet here. I figured you'd be piping in with like different stuff or just arcade knowledge in general.
I mean, a lot of the redemption games are not. I don't really. I'm more of the dedicated. Arcade stuff. But I've seen. I've still like there's a Ghostbusters one in Dave and Buster's where you actually physically shoot ping pong balls at the screen from a ghost thrower,
Right.
and it shows up on screen like you're zapping, but but you actually it shoots physical stuff at the screen.
I'm
And
gonna
it's
have
kinda
to
like
get up
a
my local
cockpit
Dave and
style
Buster's
one.
and try to find that one now. That could be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had it when Afterlife came out, and it was like you're beating like the boss as the Marshmallow Man, and you're trying to like smash it down. It's kind of like I don't know. It's just different because you're going and catching ghosts, and then all of a sudden you fight a boss. But it's more of a dedicated actual arcade machine. I think
Yeah.
the redemption stuff does get weird, especially I'm sure in Vegas. I haven't been to Vegas in a long time,
Well-
but yeah, the Dave and Buster's like.
Well,
Here's a throwback one you guys would recognize.
There we go. Here's my issue with modern day arcade stuff. My issue is that they've turned everything into a redemption game.
Yeah.
So
almost everything,
it's either
almost all
it's
of these
either
give
a
you
redemption
tickets, man.
game. Right, it's either a redemption game or it's a light gun game. There's no
Yeah.
there aren't any more old school style. The only way to play an old school style arcade game is to actually find an old arcade game. And,
Well, you still
and they
got- You still got like Pac-Man Pixel Party. A lot of times there's re-releases of like the Donkey Kongs and the stuff like the Namco stuff. You're still gonna find that.
You
not
still got
I
you still
haven't
got the Mario Arcade Grand Prix. Cruise and Blast was in the arcade there. They had a couple of bike racing games that I didn't get pictures of that were there. There were some
Yeah,
standard
there's the bike
cabinets there, like
racers.
the Walking Dead one and the Halo one. Those aren't necessarily a ticket redemption. They are a light gun for sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're either or. I mean, just
And
I
then they had
guess
some of the
gone are
Marvel
the
versus Capcom, but yeah, a lot of the newer ones are either like almost physical stuff, like variations on skee ball. Like they had a bowling game there that used like balls that are a little bit larger than skee balls, but played just like skee ball, right? But the pins you hit were reacted to a digital screen, right? As opposed to hitting down physical
They got
buttons or pins.
shuffleboard style like that too,
Yeah,
where it has different games like hockey and
yeah.
bowling and
And this
stuff like
one's more
that.
in line with what you guys are talking about as far as a traditional cabinet goes. I hadn't seen anything like this before when I got here. This was the Star Wars Battle Pod machine, and this was probably one of my favorite games. It was kind of like an on-rail flight shooter game
Yes.
where you're
Yeah,
doing like a Death Star run, but you could control the throttle, you could control the aim, and the screen took up your entire view.
Yeah,
yeah,
I've
I
played
agree with
that. That's a badass game. That's a badass game.
So you can see everything in there. There's where you that's where you take off, and there's the throttle. You've got like your special here on the top and your normal throttle. But I mean, you could see, even with me inside the cabinet, it's just like ridiculous. Like your head's literally like spinning around the whole time you're in there, trying to catch everything on the screen.
Yeah,
And I
I
wish they would
love
fix the
that.
projector on it because some of the text and stuff was kind of fuzzy. I don't think it was the game. I think it was their projector was a little bit on the fritz.
Yeah, that is a pretty sweet the way that's set up. That's
Yeah.
similar to kind of the Ghostbusters one kind of was.
Yeah, but you said you were like shooting like pellets or something at it?
Yeah, I'm guessing the only way I can think is it looks like ping pong balls, like little hollow white balls that were shooting.
And then they had this Human Alliance
Yeah.
cabinet too, and this was
Yeah,
in the Engine
Transformers one. I
Grand, I
played
think.
that.
And I was sort of bummed about this one because I've got a video coming out that kind of talks about this game a little bit. There's a fully 360 degree cabinet that Sega made that had a few games loaded on it, and they reworked that thing later on down the road. And bustin' makes me feel good. That actually had this game in it that I think was only in Japan. I would have loved to see one here, but the problem is I'm like, damn it, I didn't get to like vomit my brains out in an arcade cabinet. I'm sad now. I just gotten done like writing the video up for like that particular cabinet when we went and saw this, and I'm like, oh my god, I was literally just writing about this game not that long ago. So those were just some of the ones that I found while I was there. They kind of sparked this topic. They also had some stuff like they had like some VR experiences. They had like a Jurassic World VR experience
Mm-hmm.
with like guns and stuff. They had a King Kong one.
Oh, that's cool.
They had one called Typhoon. It wasn't even a game. Like you sat down in it and you grabbed onto the handles and you could pick like a scene and it would run you through it like a virtual roller coaster type thing. That I thought was like
That's
fun,
awesome.
but really bizarre, right? I was like, well, how do you control it? We're looking at it, I'm going, oh, you just select a scene. So you just tap and it's like it's automatically like two people can sit in it and experience it at the same time, right? So we're in there like we chose the pinball one and as we're in it and it's just like pelting us back and forth. I'm like, maybe this was the wrong scene.
Did any of them have the? I'm looking for a picture of it that I took when I went to. A few years ago, we went to Tennessee for vacation. I think it was in 21.
Tell me
And
you didn't go in summer.
We went in. When did we go? We went in August.
Oh, you madman. I'm surprised you're still alive.
No, it was okay. No, it was okay. It was
really?
all right.
Because every August I lived there. It was like 97 to 100 degrees with like 140% humidity.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
My wife lost a pair of shoes there. They melted, literally.
Good Lord.
I used to go in June and July all the time. It was pretty hot.
Ugh.
I don't know.
I still go
Nashville
to
would
the
be even
Road Warrior
worse because
this
that's
year.
probably where you were at, right, Chuck?
Yeah,
Let me
there's a
see if I
Dave
can-
and Buster's right by the Grand Old Opry in the mall there that I go to, and they have
Check
a
this
bunch
out.
of stuff.
Let me know if you saw this in any of those arcades.
Okay.
Is this from my channel?
No.
Oh, I have a video of me playing this.
No, these are my kids' shoes.
Oh, okay. I thought this was because I have a video of me and my buddy in California playing this at a bar.
I have to see if I have a video. If I took
It's
a
the
video of
exact
it.
same thing.
Can you show this on the screen?
I'll have to hold on one second. Let me move the.
Oh, I thought
control.
everybody could see it.
Yeah, hold on. Let me try this.
Okay, I'm surprised it didn't take over my camera.
There we go. Okay.
There we go. That is a Pong machine that I saw in Gatlinburg we went to a pinball and arcade museum. And this was kind of like in the corner in a different room, like all by itself. And I'm like, this can't run. This can't work. There's no way. It's physical.
I've seen some of these online before. They're not the most prevalent thing that I've seen.
They're not, but
I
it was
have seen some
crazy.
really like high-end Pong machines getting made for some reason. There's just like a renewed nostalgia for it.
I'm checking to see if I took a video of it.
It looks like you're bouncing around like a physical block.
Here we go. Let me see. Let me see.
I want to say it's all on magnets or something the way they do it, but
yeah, it's
exactly
wild.
Sure.
Let me see. Give me a sec. Let me see if it'll let me share. Yes, it'll let me share this.
Okay.
Now check this out. I'll do it without the sound, or at least the sound down. Oh, it's not showing it very smooth.
It's a little choppy.
Yeah, probably because I'm sharing it.
Probably.
But it works, and I was surprised at how wild. I mean, it was wild.
I found it really funny that we've taken Pong in the opposite direction that it was actually intended to take things.
Yes.
Like, we took something that was designed as like totally like a video game and one of the first video games, and we said, screw the video game part, we're gonna make it a physical game. I'm sure the person who made it was like probably look at it and go, that's neat. Why the hell didn't you just play air hockey again?
Right. Well, I think because
it's cool
again,
I'm not denying it. It's cool.
Yeah, it was a neat concept that I was actually impressed at how well it worked.
Yeah, it's a little slow, as you can see. It almost like it has to think about what it's doing, but it's still, for a gimmick, it's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having one.
No, it would definitely be something fun to have people sit down and play from time to time. You know, you have a drink on top of it, you're sitting there and you're messing around with like
it's ping pong.
3D Pong
really
machine. Like, what's really to argue with about this, right?
Yeah. No, very cool. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me.
I know, me too.
Yeah, we don't have to do like a super long stream tonight. I just knew we'd.
No, it's not that. It's not.
I haven't gotten Chuck on a long
No,
time.
it's just
last
me.
time we talked to
Me
arcades, I
just
didn't
being
get
tired,
Chuck
that's
on, and I felt bad about it. And I'm like, when Nicole mentioned, I'm like, you know what? I really do need to get Chuck on these more. And this is a great topic for Chuck.
Yeah. And by the way, shout out to Zombie and Matthews. You guys rocked the handheld discussion. Had I realized he was going to bring up
one of my favorite conversations in a long time. I've been wanting to do that one for a while, so I was already amped for it.
Thanks,
dude.
Nick.
I've been wanting to do. You didn't want to do that one. I've been wanting to do that one forever.
You know what though? It's kind of funny because had I realized that, because as I was thinking about it, and Zombie brought up the Macrovision, I'm like, well, shit, I had a Macrovision. I had the Star Trek game. I had the whole thing.
I brought up the Macrovision.
I was like, you know what? The more I was listening to it, the more I was like, you know, I had that. I had the Game & Watches. I had a PSP. I could have been on the show.
They were all handheld, and I told you were more than welcome to be on the show. I never said go away, Mike.
You did not. And as it turned out, I also fell asleep 3/4 of the way into the show. The other thing going on in my life right now is my company that I worked for, in this IT portion of this company, got acquired by a bigger MSP, managed service provider. I have been working my butt off to transition my team, our tools, our billing, our and getting to know the folks at the new company, and still doing my client work, because I have client work to do. Plus, I'm the deputy director of service delivery, so I have that to do. I have been freaking exhausted. It's a good exhaustion. Like I am, number one, I have a job. They wanted everybody on my team. So, nobody it wasn't like they bought our clients and left us behind. They
Right.
actually wanted us more than they wanted our clients. It's just been a whirlwind of transition. We got acquired at the end of April, and
I
it's
think,
just
Brian, they
been.
actually called it Macrovision, because I always wanted to say
Yes.
it's Microvision as well, but I'm pretty sure it's Macrovision.
Wait a minute. I might be wrong. Let me see.
Well, I get called Macrovision multiple. No, it is Microvision. He's correct.
Well, Microvision.
I think I started calling it Macro. I think I said Microvision once, and then I think Zombie called it Macrovision, and I think we just rolled Macrovision the
Yeah.
whole time. We knew what we were talking about. We just called it the wrong thing. So that's on
Yeah.
us. But you're correct, Brian.
Dude, there's
Oh,
one.
breaking news. Atari just acquired Microvision. Damn, they are on a roll.
Yeah, I
tell you
I
what.
can't bring myself to talk about that. I don't know how to feel.
Yeah, I'm
about
open
that.
for an Intellivision Plus. You kidding me? I want an HDMI
Yeah,
one that takes cartridges and homebrews. And
that is what I want.
the classic fan is excited about that. And I am.
As someone who would like to see them actually have an audience after, we die, it doesn't enthuse me as much. Because nothing Atari does tells me they're going to actually do anything that's going to make them live past our generation at all.
Look what I got now.
Oh,
that
you got a
looks like the
VCS.
VCS?
Yeah.
Nice.
Creep sent me this.
I was
This
looking
Nice.
I was looking for one of those for a while, but I was going to be damned if I was going to pay $400 for it.
So
They went
this
down
was,
to 200 at one point.
They
This
did,
was in
and then they shot
Rich's-
back up.
This was in Bacon Ice Cream's flood. It got damaged and stopped working. Creep opened it up, fixed it all up, and in the meantime, Bacon or Rich already replaced his. So Creep been holding on to this. He's like, I'm going to send you that, and I was like, oh my. So this has a pretty
That's awesome.
storied past. So all I need to do is get a new SD card because he fixed that. So I got to get a new SD card, and I'm probably going to buy one of those the joystick controllers for this and play some Atari on it. So I don't even know anything about it, so I'm going to hook it up and just learn.
Dude, let me know when you do. I use it. I love it. I actually run it in both VCS mode, and I run it in PC mode with an external hard drive, which is how I do all of my RetroRoots stuff. I've got a bunch of games. I actually have the Atari 50th collection on the VCS. I was never going to buy it.
Had it come down to what I thought was a reasonable price. But every
Well,
time
the
I
base
looked for
unit-
one, they were like $400 plus.
The
And
base
I'm like,
unit
I'm not
right
paying
now.
you that much money. I'm just not.
No, the all-in-one bundle. If you want to get the wood grain with the two joysticks, it's $299. If you just want to get the base and you can use any USB joystick you want, you can use any Bluetooth joystick with you want, it's $199. So I mean, it depends on, but it also depends on the
Or it's like
issue.
I'm the
The
one to
other
click the like
I'm gonna
button.
click the like button.
Maybe.
Maybe.
you might be
Hold
Bart.
on. All right. I don't even know how many people are
It's
watching.
entirely possible.
How's
the thumbs
here's
down
the-
button looking?
Here's the other thing though, and this is where Atari has not done anything to make you want to get it. That's the other thing. If I didn't get one for $99, I might not have.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's really the reason I got it.
Sorry, I
I've
didn't
said
mean
this.
to, I figured we would derail at some point. I wasn't sure when.
No, well,
And it's off the rails, Nick.
that's all right. All right, we can head back to
Should've showed
arcade.
it.
We can head back to arcade. You can get every VCS game on any other platform. So you can get them on Xbox, you can get them on Steam, you can get them on.
The main reason to have them on the VCS is one, because it feels like an Atari machine, and on the recharge stuff had more extra stages on certain things and stuff like that, and that was kind of a cool benefit. And having a 50th collection on an actual Atari console, there's a intrinsic nostalgic value to that in and of itself.
The classic joystick does have the spinner in the middle for spinner games, and that's that hits, especially when and then we can go back to arcade. The game changer for that was Tempest 2000. I had Tempest 2000.
I remember you talking about Tempest and realizing that spun and went, "Oh my god, this is totally different now."
Right, because Tempest 2000 on the Atari Jaguar only used the Jaguar controller, which only had a digital control. Playing Tempest 2000, which is in the Atari 50th collection, with the spinner, is a whole.
Oh no, I bet.
Game.
The problem with
I'll have to play it. Yeah.
We'll go, we may set this up. I'm going to say this one last thing. The problem with me and a lot of Atari products is I never had any nostalgia for Atari. I never had any major nostalgia for old Intellivision because I didn't have either one of them. I had a ColecoVision.
I get that.
So I have some nostalgia for ColecoVision, but it's not nearly as strong as my nostalgia for the NES, right?
Dude, if somebody made a ColecoVision Mini,
I would probably buy
with
it.
HDI, I'd be all over it.
Yeah, I'd probably buy it.
Well, they made the flashback.
But the flashback is not HDMI.
Oh, yeah.
I need something with HDMI.
Oh, breaking news. Atari just acquired ColecoVision. Wow.
I don't even know.
I'm telling you, on a roll, that company.
I don't even know who owns the ColecoVision at this point. Like, Coleco is not the Coleco of old.
Well, someone owns the IP and the name, and so if there's any games that people like, that was by Coleco. I know a lot of them were arcade ports, so.
Well, they were licensed from other people. Coleco never made a game on their own. They didn't have internal development. I mean, well, they had internal development, but they licensed all their games from everybody.
So they've never had like an original game like Mattel did?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Not a thing. They were all
there's
either.
Really no reason for a Coleco Mini if it's all licensed games.
Some of the games looked significantly better on ColecoVision than they did for other consoles on that time.
Well, of course they did. It was as close to an arcade as you can get.
Scribble says the only time I played an Atari as a kid was the older kid down the street had one, and a Sega Master System. Whereas is DJC making things up? Yes. They're all things that I could totally see happening.
Yeah, I had a. I mean, my Atari experience, as you guys know, was the Atari computers, which were awesome.
Yeah. So moving back to these arcades because I don't want to push it too much because I know Chuck has to get up in the morning and he would like some sleep, and he's been streaming for like 4 hours now. So I want to make use of the time that he's going to give us. And
that
then Mike,
like
me and you can derail again, or we can talk about the other topic at that point. So Chuck,
all right,
before you turn into a pumpkin, we're going to move back to the arcades. Is there anything there that you want to talk about that you've messed with, or that you've seen, or the direction you think a lot of this stuff might go? Because it got me thinking about, because they're starting to put VR into these things. They're taking a lot of these things that were like retro classic games and making them into like brand new experiences now, or just larger experiences. Like Space Invaders is actually a super responsive light gun game. That one's insane on how well that one responds.
Yeah, when it comes to like the Dave and Buster kind of redemption style stuff is kind of, that's one thing. But what I've seen, at least in this area, also in areas of Tennessee, even out in California a little bit too, but to talk about my area still, there's a lot of arcades popping up again. And I mean like real arcades with with both new and old games. So
Yeah, I have
you're
one
gonna
near
have
me
like,
called Arcade One Up. That's the same way.
And that's all they have.
oh, that's the name. Oh, I thought you were talking about like the little toys. You're talking
No, no,
about
no,
that
no,
was the
no.
name of the.
It's either called One Up Arcade or Arcade One Up, and
Gotcha.
they have like all sorts of machines, and they don't use any of the Arcade One Up stuff that you hate. No, they don't use any
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. No, they. So I just went to one called Free Play here down the street from me, and it's called Free Play blah, blah, Pinball Arcade, but it has. Oh my God, they probably had about 50 or 60 arcade machines, as well as about probably the same amount of pinballs.
Yeah, it's a One Up Arcade bar.
And they had the Jaws pinball, the brand new one. They now have video screens where they're literally playing clips from
I've
movies.
seen
now.
those. Who is it that's doing that? I forget the name of
So
that company.
awesome. That's one of the newest machines out
That's
right
an
now.
American company that's making those. Those machines are amazing.
Yeah, Stern is the one that's responsible for those. Everybody kind of died off, and Stern is the only one that's still alive, and they're the one making everything pretty
I think
much.
there's
And there's a
one
couple
other
others
that's out now, but there's only like one or two that make pinball now.
right. And Stern's like the leader now, and there was I got to play the Transformers one, which I played before, which to me is an incredible pinball.
Bet you that's fun.
Right now, I'm talking about newer games. They had the Aerosmith pinball, the Metallica pinball.
I remember the
really
Aerosmith.
absolutely amazing. The Iron Maiden, one of my favorites.
Oh, I'd love to play an Iron Maiden one.
Black Knight, and you can add extra music to these too. You can upload more music or whatever music you want on these. You can hook it up to stereos and subwoofers that shake the room when things hit.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Brian. I'm not sure how much these cost. He's saying it probably costs like 15 grand for some of these tables.
If you get some of the pro tables or the like extra like special editions, yeah. You're usually starting about 7 or 8 grand and then moving your way up to 12, 15 on some. Like I know the Guns N' Roses super limited one was like insane. There was also one of my favorites is Black Knight Sword of Rage, which there was Black Knight and Black Knight 2000, and then they just made Sword of Rage. I think came out in 2020 or 2021 or something, or I could be wrong. It might be 2019. I can't remember. But it has Scott Ian from Anthrax and Brennan Small from Metalocalypse, Death Clock. So it's all like the speed metal with those two.
That would be great.
So the soundtrack's already got me. And it has like all these just giant knights, and there's a big spinning warhammer just going with like pinballs attached to it. And that one's really cool. The Jaws one blew me away. When it comes to classic,
I love that movie to death. So if I was probably going to own one, it might be something like that.
Jaws is incredible. Like I was addicted to that one. I got to play a good run on Attack from Mars, which was one of my favorite classics.
Attack from Mars, I could see it.
Fishtails is another great one.
Of mine. I don't know if it was Stern or not, but that thing was a lot of fun. I'm terrible at pinball, so I got like maybe a minute and a half of gameplay out of it, but it was still a lot of fun.
Yeah. I played Fishtails, which I was terrible at. I used to be pretty good at. I haven't played it in years. And then Elvira, Scared Stiff, which is really, really great. It has the tunnel, the spinal tunnel with the bones and the skulls. It's really cool.
I remember the original Elvira pinball.
Party Monsters.
Yeah, I think
there's Elvira and the Party
I think
Monsters.
You guys just
and
said this, but Stern remade a cabinet like that. Not that long ago.
Yeah, there is a new one out too.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is. And then of course they had like Mortal Kombat 2, all the Pac-Man, Galagas. Oh, I got to play an original Berserk machine, which was pretty sweet.
Wow.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, that's one I have never seen out in literally those things break so much that you rarely see a Berserk or a Frenzy cabinet. This one had been completely refurbished. They even did an upgrade with the LCD screen, so everything was clear. It played fantastic. I mean, it plays like Berserk. It's a slow game, you know. Right. I always thought, because I was like, is this going to play just like Atari? And it does. It literally plays like the Atari version, just a little nicer, you know. And you had the little smiley face bouncing around, and the kill all humanoids, kill all humanoids. Like it's
I
it's
think
really
the audio sounds better on the got to be better on the arcade version than it was on most of the ports, right?
it sounds pretty much the same. I
Is
mean,
it the same?
they had
Okay.
they had the audio really low down, and that whole arcade was pretty loud. But it was still fun to get a chance to play that. Played some Frogger. I'm trying to think of the other pinballs I had played.
Born, that's been a while since you've been to see a concert. I don't think any of these guys have toured in a super long time.
Some of them might be
Cinderella,
dead.
Winger, John Corabi.
They also had one of the last remaining, I think there's like 21 they said now counted for, because there's only like 200 some made. The Hercules gigantic size pinball. It's called Hercules.
Oh,
And
yeah. I did a video
Yeah,
on
the
that.
flippers
Yeah.
are like the flippers are like the size of my forearms, and that's like almost like a cue ball. But it's the thing is this big. It's humongous.
It is. I think it actually is a cue ball. Matter of fact, the
Yeah, it could
driver
be.
for that I think is a cue stick, or the
But,
upper half of a cue stick.
It's really insane. I didn't. They were charging extra to play it, and I had played it back at a pinball museum in Nashville before, and it's okay. It's not. They had a high score board there, though. I might go back and play, but I'm also going to probably go back once I run out of machines here at my house, because I'm going to start a show of doing arcade stuff. I'm probably going to go up there and just film playing different pinball tables and different arcades as well that I don't have, like rare ones. They had a Smash TV arcade, dude. That is very rare to find those in the wild as well.
Fun.
So our one friend, literally the whole time they were there for probably 2.5 hours. We just got wristbands and everything's on free play. You pay $20 to get in. They have beer and food there. So we're like, I'm just like, having a few different beers and playing a bunch of pinballs. And our one friend, the whole 2.5 hours, I swear it felt like he was standing at that Smash TV. He goes, I'm winning this game. Like, he played almost through the whole thing.
Which is hilarious because you can't.
Well, he kept going until he got to some huge boss.
I was about to say, there is like an end boss, but I think it loops at that point.
Yeah, so then he goes, I think I beat it, but it kept going. Or he said something like that.
No, and that's you guys don't know the story of that. There's so the creator, so Midway, Midway never programmed an ending to that game. They never programmed an ending to that game.
Kind of like Atari and Gauntlet, where they just kind of randomly regenerates, and there's no way to win the game. It just is different maze each time.
Yep. Yeah. And it's sad because you bring up Smash TV and Total Carnage was the sequel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those were in Antstream Arcade until Midway.
Yeah, until the Midway license got pulled.
Or
they didn't renew it, I guess is the best way to put it.
What was shitty about it is that if you had if you were like Xbox, or if you had an Xbox controller, or when I was using my X Arcade tank stick, I had the 2-player tank stick. I could use both joysticks.
Because you got to use two joysticks.
Yeah, I could play it like the arcade. Yeah.
That's really cool. Another 2-joystick game, Karate Champ.
Yep.
Yes.
Which still is an
That was a really cool concept for like a martial arts game.
Yeah.
But apparently it plays terrible. That's from all reports I've heard.
No,
it kind of plays awful that way.
No, and so that one is still on Antstream, and every once in a while when I do an Antstream game stream, I play Karate Champ because I have the stick that has that I can use
to do that,
to be able to play it correctly. Mm-hmm. Well, an Xbox controller you could too, because both analog sticks.
Yeah, both analog sticks. Yes.
Right, but that's the only way to play it, and I don't know if you guys, Chuck, did you ever have an older computer, an Atari or an Amiga or anything like that?
I had a VIC-20.
All right, so Commodore 64, Atari 8-bit computers, the Atari ST, and the Amiga had ports of Karate Champ where they had to retool it. They called it International Karate, and then on the ST and Amiga, it was an International Karate Plus, where they retooled that game for one joystick and one button, which actually worked. And then they added things like being able to do back handsprings and things like that. And International Karate Plus on the ST and Amiga was actually a 2-on-1 game, and it was cool because you could do like split kicks and things like that. It was the only way that they were that I've ever seen Karate Champ done a different way where it could work with one joystick.
Oh, I never knew that. I've checked that out.
I might have to on my next maybe next week's stream, my next week's retro stream, I might pull those in a little bit because I have all that stuff.
Have you guys ever played the Buck Rogers Planet of Zoom game?
Mm-hmm. I had it on the ColecoVision.
So they just ported that to the Intellivision as a new homebrew. It's going to be available, I believe, on IntellivisionCollector.com very soon. I think by end of month. So that's one I really want to get because that was. I saw Cy was playing that. He did a thing on one of his cartridges, and he was playing it or talking about it on one of his streams. And so on my lunchtime stream, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to pop that in for the 52," because I had a 5200 for a little bit back in the day. But it, and it was mostly just like the same ports that like arcade ports like Galaga, Galaxy, and stuff like that.
That's kind of what most of the 52 and 7800 were. They kind of kept remastering and doing a lot of their arcade games, even the older arcade games, with better graphics. I mean, they all had unique games to them, but obviously.
But I never had that one, and that I played
Star
it
Raiders
recently on my emulator, and I loved it so much. And all of a sudden, I go, like, I watch one of Papa Pete's streams. He's like, now announcing Planet of Zoom, Buck Rogers for the. I was like, no way, dude, I'm getting it.
The 5200 was the same hardware as the Atari 8-bit computer. So a lot of those games that were on the 5200 they were ports from the computer, and they looked exactly the same. So like Star Raiders was there and all that stuff. The 7800, we could do a whole thing on Atari in there.
I'd probably need to get both of you guys on here because I'm happy to host it. I am not that Atari guy. I have some knowledge of Atari, but I don't have a whole lot of personal exposure to their game library. It just never drew me in. Even the 5200 and the 7800, those two, the graphics were much better, but the games were like most of them felt like the same games from like the 2600 era, and then the sound chip on them was just kind of bad. Like they didn't do much with the sound chip from version to version.
So you know why the 7800 had the 2600 sound chip in it for compatibility, because the 7800 was backward compatible with the 2600.
Yeah,
so you could put 2600 games
for
in
whatever bizarre reason.
That was a mistake that they made, and by the time they got to the 7800, Atari was like the problem was by the time you got to the 7800, Nintendo was out in the US, and it was just, which is funny because I've done some comparison. There are some games on the 7800 that if they had done the sound chip right, would have competed real well with the NES.
The 7800 was a whole other mess, man, because technically it actually came out in 83, but it only came out in California, and then it didn't spread out until like almost after the NES was already in the market around 86. Is where it started hitting more in the States, outside of the California area. So they completely botched that launch.
They did, but there were more. It was more than just that. There was more than just that.
So I think we've pretty much completely derailed off of arcades at this point because we keep coming
Yeah.
back to Atari.
Fire Truck's a great arcade by Atari.
Yes, it is. Fire Truck's a great
That's
arcade
where
cabinet.
a person controlled the back of the truck and the front of the
Yep.
truck.
Yep.
Have no
Rab
clue
and
why.
I talked about that. The issue is, old arcade games were, to me, the pinnacle of. I mean, I loved walking into an arcade, and I would head. There were certain cabinets I'd head straight for.
Yeah.
One of them was discs of Tron. If I saw a disc of Tron, and there were two. There was the regular cabinet, and then there was the stand-in cabinet that you walked into, and it had everything. It had the speakers around you, and
Right.
and you felt like you were, there in the game. That was like one of the first things I ever walked up to play if I saw it in an arcade. I don't get that feeling walking into a Dave and Buster's.
I did in Vegas to an extent because there were some arcade cabinets that kind of harken back to that. More of them were like gun games or on rails shooters and stuff like that, like the pod racer game. But you got like the Mario Karts that are tacked together. Yeah, see, zombies, like that's how I feel about the sit down afterburner cabinet, right?
Absolutely,
it's kind of like the same kind of thing.
The sit down outrun
Paris
cabinet.
It's just nice to see arcades make a comeback and seeing a new take on old games. And I like the ones I like the best. Like Vegas had a little bit of that mix. They had more than your ones because they're the more grandiose machines, and Vegas is just that kind of place, right? Like Vegas isn't some place that I looked at from from the time I was there. Everything's kind of surface deep, right? So when you look at it on the surface, Vegas looks great. But if you're looking for a lot of depth out of Vegas, at least on the Strip, you're not going to get a lot of that there, right? It's just not that kind of town. So they're going to have a lot of these like nostalgic throwback machines that are like bigger, more grandiose, like the Pac-Man and the Centipede and stuff like that. And then you're going to have a lot of these things like popular games like Halo that are thrown into like light gun, light gun style events and stuff like that. And they still had your normal like skee ball and your basketball, and they had like your whack-a-mole type things, and a couple of new experiences that were more like what you guys would call like ticket dispenser kind of events that you would play. But I like seeing those in an arcade, and they're fun to play from time to time. Are they like when I play a ton of while I'm there? No. But I always want to play a couple of them when I'm there, and I'm always a little disappointed in an arcade that doesn't have at least a few of them, right? Like if you don't have skee ball, why don't you at least have 2 skee ball machines, right? They don't take up that much space. Yeah. And it's just something that everybody enjoys to play a time or two, even if it gets tickets or doesn't. It's just fun to play against somebody for a score, Yeah,
there's a couple bars, and there's a bar in Hamtramck that I go to every year for the Fat Tuesday Polish celebration, Mardi Gras kind of thing, and they always have two skee balls, the ice ball, which is like the shorter lane, so they fit pretty nice,
right?
And those are fun. They have 2 of them. We'd play for score. That was the whole thing: is play for score, play for who's buying the next round.
Yeah,
and
I don't care about the tickets. I just care about being able to like play against somebody else. My wife always kicks my butt on that one because she's just really good at skee ball. Like she almost always whoops me on skee ball. I get a little bit better the more we play at it, but she's still much better at it than I am.
That's what I want to get for my house. That's my next thing. I want to at least get 1 skee ball machine.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. I'd love to get 2, but if I get 1, I'd still be pretty happy.
Those are a blast. And air hockey's another one of those that's great fun.
I have that. I have an air hockey machine.
Yeah. So those are the kind of things I like. And those are the familiar sounds. Those complement the familiar sounds of the arcade to me, right? Because you've got the clack of like the air hockey machine, right, and the whir of the machine itself, and you've got that dun 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 sound from the skee ball like thing kicking off and dropping down all the different balls and stuff. That is quintessential arcade sound, right? If you don't have that and you don't have some pinball, then this audio in your arcade doesn't sound right. And for those of you who haven't been in an arcade, there's no way to explain that arcade sound and feel to you until you've felt it.
Yes, but I would also argue there are some other certain sounds that if I walk into, I know, all right, I know where I'm heading. And that is if I hear Daytona, I know there's Daytona USA in there and I'm heading there.
Yeah,
If
Zombie had mentioned Daytona USA was one he was had to play.
Exactly.
Cruisin' was one of the ones that would pull me a lot of times.
Hydro Thunder,
Hydro Thunder was another one.
And a lot of the there was that
every X-Men arcade machine. Anytime that crawl came across and they, you heard that X-Men theme song, you're like, all right, I know where I'm going. I'm going to go lose about $10, $15.
Back me up on this. Every Atari arcade game had that same insert coin sound when you inserted a coin. And when you hit the start, Paperboy or Stun Runner. I don't know how many people remember Stun Runner. Road Blasters.
I had a Road Blasters cabinet.
720 was one of my favorites.
See, and Zombie says it himself too. He says, yep, the skee ball machine song is immortal. When you hear it, it sounds like a mini bowling. You know there's skee balls somewhere. Part of the excitement was hearing the attract modes, like what we're talking about, right? The different
Pac-Man was another one. Pac-Man, Ms. Pac-Man, just hearing the...
For me, you hear the Mortal Kombat song from like MK1 or MK2, and I'm like, oh, we got a legit arcade. I love it.
Or if I walked into an arcade and I saw the Dragon's Lair machine with the monitor on top, so that everybody could watch.
I only ever saw that once, and I was a little kid.
I saw that. There used to have an ice cream parlor called Farrell's near us, and
I remember Farrell's.
It had one of those. Just those, and you just stood there and you watched the cartoon intro.
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun,
For those of you guys that don't know what Mike's talking about, okay, first we'll start with Dragon's Lair, because maybe a lot of people here, particularly on Rumble, that don't know what the hell Dragon's Lair is. Dragon's Lair was a Laserdisc game where it was like it was all drawn by Don Bluth. Just amazing graphically, because you're literally playing a cartoon that's running off a Laserdisc. Operation's simple. You can either hit an action button that would do like a specific action, usually swipe a sword or grab an item or something like that, and then you could move basically in 4 different directions. You would have to tap at the right time because it's basically one like QTE event. The really nice cabinets of these not only had the screen in front of you that you could play, but they had a second monitor up above the marquee that would light up, that would display this out to anybody who was behind you. And so when this thing first came out, you had huge crowds that would curl up around this machine, almost to where the main player couldn't get out, to watch this game get played, just because it was so beautiful to look at.
And I'm looking to see if there is
and Simpsons, absolutely. Street Fighter and MK.
Yeah, TMNT. I'm looking to see if there doesn't seem to be a picture. Oh, wait. That's different. I'm looking for a picture of that Dragon's Lair arcade.
Yeah, I just started kind of hunting for it myself. Oh, I think I might have found one. Ooh, I did. Hold on, let me download this.
All right. I saw one where it looks like somebody put like their own custom monitor on it, but not like the one that was attached.
I think this.
I used to do those for the competitions for Galaga, Pac-Man, and Donkey Kong.
This is kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's kind of it. And that might have been what it looked like, and maybe some of the like you see on the side, that looks like a custom cabinet. That doesn't look
It
like the
might
original
be, but
Dragon
it's
Force
close
cabinet.
enough to kind of get the point across because it's laid out
No, it is.
basically the
Look at
same
you're
way.
right, but look at the side. The side says
Yeah,
laser
it's like
video on
laser
it.
video and stuff like that on the side. Yeah.
But
Somebody
that's the
reworked
concept.
the cabinet. That's what they did.
Yeah, but that's the concept.
Yeah.
That's basically what would happen is you would have people that were watching from behind you to see to watch the game, and it was mesmerizing.
Mm-hmm. And there were tons of different death animations and stuff like that in there that made it well worthwhile for somebody to hang out and play, and particularly a small kid. You would see somebody playing a cartoon was mind blowing at the time. Now it's not so much a feat with modern graphics, but
right. One of my favorite
local
interviews
arcade used to have another high monitor for Tron when it was new. I could totally see that.
Tron. Now the original Tron was also a great game. It had the 4 areas you could go to, so you could do the light cycles, you could do the tanks, you go up against Master Control, and I forgot what the 4th one was. The 4th one was
the spinning thing.
the spinning thing.
You had to cut through the shield almost like Yars.
Oh, yeah. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. The one
I just
always had
saw it because
problems
there was
with
one up at
light
the
bikes.
arcade
That's the one that
the
always
other day.
gave me fits. Last time I played it anyway, I couldn't get a feel for it when I was playing it last time. Northeast Ohio would have a retail store called Hills. They had the TMT and Simpsons arcades. Oh, ha, ha.
Yeah.
The announcer in Killer Instinct. Dude, Killer Instinct's just... The sound in Killer Instinct, even to the latest one, is just amazing. Just Ultra Combo! Just amazing. Just going full ham on it. I think
Of
we're
course,
going to
there's
start
the
winding
Space
things
Invader
down here a little
sound,
bit as far as the arcade talk, because Chuck is falling asleep.
I've got to get going. It's after
dude.
midnight. I'm going over 4
appreciate you
hours.
coming in, dude. I don't want to keep you too much longer.
But I mean, you guys can keep going. I just got to take off.
I was about to say, if you want to bounce, go ahead and bounce, man. I'm gonna see if I can find this article that I sent to Mike, and we can go into that for like the last little bit of the show, and pretty much call it a night for us, because I'm not gonna stay more than like another 30 minutes or so.
I appreciate you having me on, man. I wish I was a little more rested, but yeah.
No, dude, I'm
we'll
just
have to
glad
do it
you were
again,
okay coming on, because it was so last minute.
Yeah, dude, we'll have to do it again. I really do appreciate it. It's always good seeing you guys and hanging out and talking about anything, whether we derail the conversation or not. All right, fellas. Thank you. I will talk to you soon.
Thank you for coming on, Chuck. We appreciate it, man. Have a great night.
Nick.
Get some sleep, man.
Take care, Mike.
Later.
All right, take care, Chuck.
All right. So, Mike, do you have that article? Because I was going to cover that real quick. We've got a few minutes left. I
sent it to me. Hang on. Here you go. It's in the RetroRoots Discord.
Is it? Okay. All right. Did you just put it in there?
No, you did.
Oh, that's what I couldn't find.
Scroll up.
It did, and then scroll up a lot. Let me see if I can find it here. If you have it, can you repost it?
Yeah.
Yeah, repost it so it's a little bit more current. That way I can find it a little easier.
There you go.
Check the president. There we go. Okay. Here we go. Let's pull this up. All right. So let's go to the screen view so we can kind of cover this, and I'll go ahead and... There we go. So this I thought was kind of weird, and it's kind of a random thing for us to cover on this arcade one. But this whole thing just struck me as kind of weird. That the Unreal coding standards now require video game studios to use inclusive language in programming and documentation, which I thought was kind of a weird phrasing. kind of looking at this, they're kind of taking like a political correctness stance on word choice when you're doing things like comments. I'm trying to figure out how I can. Trying to remember how I zoom in on this. There's a way to do it. There we go. And the word choice applies when you name classes, functions, data structures, types, variables, files, folders, and plugins.
When you write...
And for those of you guys that don't understand this, that's fine. You shouldn't. This is for like coders to understand. But forcing this kind of stuff... Oh, God,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, look at it. It's the new inclusive word choice clause.
Yes.
Encourage users to use respectful, inclusive, and professional language when writing or documenting a given piece of code. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I just thought this was just weird. And I think
It
they even
applies
put some
when you write...
examples down here below. Yeah, don't use metaphors or similes that reinforce stereotypes.
Good
Contrast
Lord.
to black and white list, or blacklist or white list. Like, why? Don't use words that refer to historical trauma or lived-in experience of discrimination. Slave, master, and new. Slave and master are common coding terms for...
They're common IT terms.
Yeah, they're
we
common.
had master
blacklist
and
whitelist are common
drive.
IT terms. These are not racist terms.
They're not, but this is the new... It's allowed list and blocked lists.
Yeah, turning to gender-related language, Epic advises devs to refer to hypothetical people as they, them, their, or even singular, anything that's not a person, it, its. Example, a module, plugin, and function, client, server, or any other software or hardware component. Don't assign gender to anything that doesn't have one, or use collective nouns like guys that assume gender.
You can't call your client a she. I mean, this is how stupid we're getting.
This is just to me, this is kind of like an overstep, and the fact that they can enforce this when you're compiling stuff is kind of weird to me. I just don't know how I actually kind of feel about this going quite this far into this kind of realm, because it doesn't really make any sense to me. Now, if somebody's going to take offense to something, like say you write a dialogue choice and you put something that's offensive to somebody and that's public facing, I get that. Or if there's an internal team that doesn't like it, that's fine. The problem I have is trying to dictate standards on group policies that should be decided by the group that's working on the game. It shouldn't be decided by the person that you're renting the engine from. Yeah, Zombie, that's kind of why I thought about talking about this, because it's just censorship on a whole different level being determined by the person that you're already paying money to use the engine. This isn't a free engine, right? This costs a lot of money to use. We're talking about Unreal Engine. It is the premier engine for most hardcore development teams.
So I thought that it was free, but you paid royalties on what you sold.
I think you have a contract. I think if you want service contracts and stuff like that with them, you have to pay them money for that kind of stuff. And I don't think Unreal Engine and a lot of his assets are free anyway.
I think the engine is. Here we go. Learn about licensing. The engine is free. Royalties apply after $1 million gross product revenue for game developers. Individuals and small businesses with less than $1 million in annual gross revenue. For educators in school, no revenue limits. So it's royalty based. So basically, if you make over $1 million on your product,
how much you pay. Yeah.
Right. So you could either pay royalty based. If you're over $1 million in revenue, then you either go to a royalty based or seat based thing. But if you're just using it to muck around or create your game and you haven't sold it yet, you don't pay them until you start making money on the game.
Right. In Scrambles, if you're having trouble with Rumble, you can always reach out to one of us and we can try to work with you on it.
Yeah,
we've already been through all those pains, dude. There's no need for you to wade into that on your own. Trust me, it's a pain in the butt.
Yep, we're here for you.
But like, here's another thing. Continuing the standards, they ask Unreal Engine users to be conscious of the use of overloaded words, such as many terms that we use for their technical meanings have other meanings outside of technology. Examples include abort, execute, or native. They detail that when you use words like these, always be precise and examine the context in which they appear. These are standard computer terms.
Somebody had to sit here and think of this and write this out. This is exhausting. This is absolutely exhausting.
They recently changed terms because studios were using it to make things like Mandalorian for free because they weren't making it for games. I'm not sure I totally understand the context of what you just said there, Para. I'm reading it again. I'm trying to see if I'm following. And I don't think I am. Maybe I'm just tired.
Yeah. But I mean, but if you're a game developer, they should not be telling you what you can and can't do in your game.
Well, part of my concern with this is and it's on a different level, right? So you're using this engine and you're compiling your code and you're bebopping along, right? Are they grabbing all your code and pulling it to Epic so that they can read all your source code? Do they have a team that's now scanning all your source code? And why are they scanning your code?
I don't think so.
Because how would they execute this? Like, how would this get checked otherwise? Unless, because like, how are they going to understand the context of using words like abort, execute, or native? Or even words like master, slave, or colloquialisms or something like that, like profanity, okay, fine. You know, don't use an F-bomb for a variable or something stupid like that, right? That's just dumb and unprofessional, right? Probably shouldn't be doing that. If it's a small team and they're having their jollies or whatnot doing their thing, that's one thing. Okay, she says people were using Unreal animation for shows or commercials. Old terms read that it was for games. Since they weren't making games, they weren't able to use it for free. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what they put the dollar figure on it for.
Right.
I'm not sure.
It says Ultimate Epic Games closes out the text of this new standard by assuring the public they're actively working on bringing our code in line with the principles laid out above. Like, I don't. Now, if this is
in other words,
if Epic Games is doing this internal to them, that's
their
business.
Right. Well, so here's how I read that. I read that in the engine will do it for you. The engine won't let you. So in other words, the engine won't let you. But I don't understand how
it's going to get the context. That's what's confusing. And I love their pickup pictures here because they've got Angel in here, like one of the most lewd characters from King of Fighters.
Oh, Bounding in the comics, they don't go in on this stuff. They're not reporting this because they like it. I think so from what I read, they're encouraging people to do it. So they're trying to give some guidelines. Hey, if you're making, if you're making this game, you might want to think about this. That last part of the article makes it sound like at some point they're going to update the engine so that when, for example, if I can't in certain games create a user or an in-game person or a clan or like I couldn't make a group in Forza Horizon called NLG because for some reason that no one has explained to me yet, the letters NLG offends somebody or is offensive or something. Nobody's been able to explain what it is. I can't type those letters in and the system will come back and say, you can't use that name. I am betting that at some point, Unreal Engine's engine is going to not allow you to name a folder native or execute or something like that. You are not going to be able to type in a master slave coding sequence, which is, like I said, it's hilarious to me because in the when I was building computers back in the day, that's what hard drives were. You had a master hard drive and a slave hard drive. Nobody thought anything of it. Nobody there. All of this stuff is within the last 10 years, right? Nobody 20 years ago, nobody 30 years ago looked at master hard drive, slave hard drive, and went, "Oh, that reminds me of slavery." And that
Right, and
no,
that's the
no.
part that confuses me on it. And I understand in the wrong context, these words mean very different things. And if you're from a different language and you see it, maybe it's confusing. But there's a lot of things that you see in other languages or phrases that are used, like there's something very close to the N word is used in Spanish to describe black. It's just the term used for it. It's not an offensive thing. It's just the term, right?
Right.
That's what black translates to there, right? So it just it
This is getting exhausting.
it's a little
That is
strange and it's a little odd that something like this would come in as far as coding practices. Now, if you're talking about like front-facing dialogue and things in the game itself that could offend like an actual person who's seeing it on the encode, and you're not talking about a work environment, and if it's on inside a work environment, inside comments or variables or something like that, and somebody's taking offense to something that's being done there, then that needs to be taken to the internal group, right? That's something the internal group needs to decide how they want to handle and manage in their internal processes when they're moving forward with their projects, because everybody has to work together. Everybody has to feel okay working in this environment. So I understand needing everybody to kind of be on board with what's going on. If somebody has a problem, fine. If you have a problem with something, bring it up and so that you can have a discussion, right? But having somebody like Epic themselves try to tell you this, to me, doesn't make sense, personally.
no. But again, the reason that this gets exhausting for me is because inevitably what has happened is everybody is offended about everything. You can't.
I'm offended. You're offended about that. You're offended that everybody's offended by everything. Like,
Well,
who
now
are
I'm
you
offended.
to judge who's offended by what, sir? Sorry.
Well, now I'm offended.
See,
And I'm
perfect.
triggered.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
now you need to be canceled.
Too late.
But this whole thing
Sorry,
is
go ahead.
just it's so freaking exhausting. It really is. It is so exhausting that we've come to an era now where everything has to be
Hey, Al, good to see you.
Hey, Al.
I
Everything
just got rated on YouTube.
Nice.
I love it.
Can they do that?
I don't know, but I like it.
Can you raid people in?
The way you do it on YouTube is you just ask everybody to jump into the chat, and you give them a link.
Oh.
That's how you do it. You do it old school.
Okay. You do the old school way.
You do it old school,
Got it.
man.
Got it. Now,
It works.
everything is, you have to be so, everything has to be so sanitized now because heaven forbid somebody is offended. And it's just gotten,
Carol's like, I'm going to get canceled here.
I know, Scramble. Hey, Scrambles, you know, I stand in solidarity, brother. You know that. But
Dude, the last part of this conversation, and he was slightly a loaded gun, and it's not normally the kind of stuff I cover because it's not really like retro.
No, it's not.
Even...
Well, here's how it's retro.
LDP, me Ray! Hey, LDP.
Hey, LDP. Here's where it ties back to retro, and this was kind of what I was getting at when we thought we wanted to cover this topic, is that we didn't have to worry about this back then. We just played video games, right? We didn't have to worry about and I have long said, well, everybody wants to be represented. I haven't seen a single game out there with a Jewish protagonist. So I don't want to hear about how how I need to be represented in games. No, what I need to do is fire up a game, enjoy it, have a damn good time playing it, and that's all that I need. I don't
We
need
need
to
a
see
Yiddish fighting game
myself.
character that throws gefilte fish.
I would do the mocap for it. I'd literally with the
I want
badge.
to see the dreidel be like a ground attack, kind of like a balls
Yeah.
of
Oh
like
my God. I
glaive
could.
thing. Just
And my it's like, oi.
see, I like this concept.
See, but I don't need to see myself in a game, right? And some of my favorite games, the characters were just there, right? They just had good stories around them. How many times have we seen now, well, great. This is the first X character in a game. Is it? You hadn't played games back then. Just
See, Paris says games made to be completely shocking and offensive historically do not sell well. Yeah, but we're not even talking about that.
we're not talking about that.
right?
We're just talking
I mean,
about
there were games that were like that, right? And there were games that were borderline that I thought sold quite well. Like Duke Nukem was borderline offensive to all
Oh,
of them.
hell yeah.
Let's be fair. But still sold pretty
Leisure
well, right?
Suit Larry.
Leisure Suit Larry was another one. And that was kind of a niche game. Scrambles like Smite for a Jewish character. See?
Well, I am. The character must have stopped mid battle and go to the bathroom every 30 minutes. But I mean, I didn't. Guess what? Before
hey,
Lara
Arcade Paula,
Croft,
how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Oh, I love the Tron. I love the Tron avatar. We were just talking about that Tron arcade. And
yeah, honestly, guys, you guys came at the weirdest time because we just wrapped up talking about arcades for like an hour and a half almost.
I know.
Along with like deviating into like Atari and television stuff like that for a little bit. Yeah, skirting the edge sells well, but if you lean too completely PC or you lean too completely raunchy, even the people that are okay with a little bit of raunchy are going to be like a little, this is a little skeezy for me. You lean too PC, and a lot of people just get annoyed by it, right? So you got to find
right.
You got to find a balance here somewhere, and I feel like that's kind of where at least the stuff that we're talking about here. And for those of you guys that don't know, we're talking about how like Epic is like trying to like encourage people to use soft and safe language even when they're writing their code for a video game. We're not talking about like dialogue that you see on the screen. We're talking about like coding practices and how they're kind of mandating that and having, developers having to go back and rewrite some stuff because of the words that they don't really want to allow. Things like blacklist and whitelist that are technical computer terms and the like. Things like master, slave, abort, execute, nuke. Things like that are kind of funky.
Abort is
they're not funky. They're common terms, but
right
taken in the context of not understanding language or not understanding in a technical aspect could potentially offend somebody, right?
That's
kind of what we're kind of going on about right now to kind of catch people up a little bit.
How in the world how does the military do operations now?
I have no idea how our military did anything before we got PC. That's all. That's all I could say about that. There's parts about the military I go, I don't know how you guys function. And part of me goes, part of it's brilliant too, because they just set a process and you do that process. And if you don't do that process, they're going to drum you right the hell out of there. You're going to do it their way. You're going to do it exactly that way. You're going to do it every time. And
they use abort and execute as two of their terms.
Yeah. Well,
so
then the dainty little princess that's offended by it can talk to his or her or them's drill sergeant and probably get the shit kicked out of them for it, would be my guess. Because that's what the drill sergeant's for.
The military will change for them. All right, I'm getting way too I don't want to get you. I really don't want to get you canceled on YouTube, Nick. I really don't.
Liberal NASA now wants to abort space missions. It's kind of that LTP. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of bizarre. And it's one of those things I kind of wanted to bring up and talk about a little bit because it's one of those things I just don't quite understand. Yeah, and the military is part of the reason we actually have these terms. The clear, precise language applied to non-gendered items. And that's how they're used. That's how they're used in coding. You're aborting a process. You're terminating a process. You're nuking a process. You know?
How is nuke a bad... Oh, my God.
Nuke's one of those words.
Nuke's one of those
one of the words in the article, dude.
I know. That's what I'm saying. How? Why? How? What? Who? Who?
Dude, I said this years ago before the pandemic hit, before everything started really going super, super loopy. Because a buddy of mine was like, well, at least this isn't racist, right? When we're all sitting around. And I said, yes, it is. You just haven't thought about it long enough yet. And literally the one of the only black guys in my group just busted out laughing.
Not to worry. Someone will find it racist. Just give it time.
Scrambles! There you are, man.
I can't.
And that's just how it is. If you want something to be perceived as racist, you can make it be perceived as racist in some way. If you want to be offended by something, you can find a way of manipulating something to feel offended by it. The human brain is totally capable of doing that with inoffensive things. I don't want to gender my computer. I'm happy with it being non-gendered. Yes. Yeah, I don't have a gender for my computer. There's no reason for it to have one. It serves no purpose.
My computer's a she. She takes care of me.
Okay. So Mike gendered his, but it's his computer, and that's their relationship.
That's right.
Whatever.
That's right. That's right. You accept me and my computer for who we are.
The way I accept people is when they tell me these things, I go, I don't care. What do you mean you don't care? I mean, I don't care. It doesn't have anything to do with my current relationship with you. Knowing these things, knowing certain particulars about somebody doesn't change how I feel about them one way or another, and shouldn't. It shouldn't relate to how I react to them. The only way it should change is if our relationship changes and becomes more than it is, then maybe those discussions need to be had. But other than that, I'm just accepting you as who you are. That you are who you are. That's fine. Vice is not really the most advanced. See, you want to cover your guitar? She, go ahead.
How many people? Come on. How many of us? I answered her. However, 10 years she still turns on. Every 10 years I can still
blink twice, Mike's computer, if you need help.
Yeah. 10 years I can still turn her on. Come on, look. How many of us when we were younger, now maybe it's just my generation too. When we were younger, we called, even in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, we called our cars she. Come on. How many? There's a whole movie from Stephen King.
I just didn't do it. It wasn't a me thing. I knew people who did it. I just didn't. It wasn't out of the norm for it to happen. I just never did it.
Stephen King wrote a whole...
Hey, JDA. What's up, man? You caught us on the very tail end of the stream, man. I was going to wind us down here in a few minutes so I can go spend some time with my cat and pass out. I lost Mike. Wait, did Mike get canceled and I'm still here? Sweet. I'm on air, but I have no guests in here. I totally lost Mike. Mike self-canceled, everybody! Maybe he'll pop back in. See, Mike's computer's protesting. It's so perfect. Mike's computer's having a mood. It's so perfect. You two sentinels have struck again. And a forklift and a ship named Dirty Girl, complete with a muffler. Oh my god. His computer canceled him for gendering. Oh, so perfect. That was so perfect, you guys. He's sitting there all like, no, I can do this, and then oh, it's brilliant. She's like, I'll show you, still turn me on. Brr. That's the best. I'm about to. I'm laughing so hard. Oh my god. Oh, you can't. Hold on. He thinks his entire internet went down. Likely story. We know what happened. Guys. We know what happened. I just said it said the timing was perfect. Oh my god. Oh, we'll give him a few minutes here. Oh god. We're about to wrap up here pretty close anyway. I appreciate everybody being here and hanging out with us while we go through some technical difficulties. Mike has a touch a computer. And figure out what's going on. That was amazing. This might be one of my favorite moments now. Oh, your base belonged to us moment. Absolutely. Mike's not even on YouTube anymore, and YouTube's still finding ways to cancel him. It's kind of amazing. That's the kind of dedication we look for to platform. Okay, I think Mike's internet's down. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here, guys, because I don't think he's going to be able to get back on. That was a perfect way to end it. Thank you guys so much for coming in and hanging out and spending some time with me tonight. Hit the like button, hit the follow button if you haven't. Come back and hang out with me again. I'll probably be doing some streaming Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to be doing some video editing, trying to get a video out for Friday if I can, because I'm going to try to get some editing in throughout the week to get that video wrapped up, because I want to get another longer video out. And this one's taking way longer than it ever really needed to, partly because of my motivation, partly because of just stuff going on in real life. So, but that's the show tonight. That was a blast. Thank you so much, and come back again later, guys. Happy gaming, everybody.